y'all, I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate. We are Real Estate Elevated, and today's episode of I'm Moving to North Carolina, Now What is a shorts edition. We're going to talk to you a little bit about something kind of scary called a material fact. These are things that the seller has to disclose, or at least through their agent has to disclose to you, the potential buyer. A main reason for this is because North Carolina is what's called a caveat emptor state. We are a buyer beware state because it's an as-is purchase state. So you make those decisions to put a contract on a property based on the information given. A lot of this is either in the MLS listing itself or in something called the RPODs, our residential property disclosures that are completed by your seller. So the first one is termite damage. If there's any type of pest damage, wood-boring insects, because we do have a few others besides termites, it's the seller's responsibility to disclose that damage, especially if there is an active colony in the property. The second one is polybutylene pipes. We have talked about this a little bit in a few of our other episodes, so be sure to check those out. But polybutylene pipes were around between the 1980s and mid-1990s. The mere existence of those is not a material fact, but whether or not there have been issues or they've been replaced is. So always take a look on the residential property disclosure where the seller can check what type of pipes are present on the property. When you see a blending of the two, whether it's that and PEX or that and plastic, it means something's probably gotten replaced. The third one is structural damage. This one's a little tricky because often if something has been fixed, it doesn't necessarily have to be disclosed. Structural damage is different. If you have had a structural engineer or any kind of structural fixes on the property, your future buyers do have the right to know about it. So you can provide an engineering letter to prove that it's been taken care of, but it is really important that that is disclosed. Another one is square footage. So our MLS, which means multiple listing service, does require all agents to be within 5% of accuracy. So if you're taking those measurements yourself, do beware because once it's published in MLS, you are required to be accurate. So square footage is something that's a material fact that could come back to bite you during the appraisal process. When you have that buyer appraiser come out and verify the square footage, if there's too much of a discrepancy between what was published in MLS and what the appraiser found, you could be looking at a price reduction based on the new square footage. Another one is HOA fees. If there is any kind of fee that is required in the transfer of real property or within HOA dues, and be careful if there's multiple HOAs, you do have to disclose these things to your potential buyer. This also needs to be passed along to the closing attorney and the lender so it can be properly represented at the closing table. And then the last one is a little bit more broad, but anything that is published in MLS does become a material fact. So be careful about how you word anything on your listing. If you make promises to your buyer that it can be used for XYZ purposes, you are putting that out there in writing as a record for all of your future buyers. So keep this in mind, guys. When you're looking to buy or sell, always look for all the information, trust, but verify. I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate. All right, y'all, thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, share, and follow us on Instagram as well as YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts. Again, I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate.